This feels like a bit of a full circle moment for this channel. I get to speak about a Brazil team and their tactics. That's kind of the pinnacle of football, innit? Or at least it should be. But as the title reads, this may be one of the worst Brazil teams I've ever seen in my life. Still good for the average football team, but when you hold it up to the standards of Brazil, what I grew up watching, Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Rivaldo, there is not that amount of stars within this team. And stars don't make great teams, but I feel like you need to have those names with Brazil. And even Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo, who are obviously fantastic players, they don't feel like they've got that Brazilian level quality of those of the past. And it's led to some severe amounts of criticism from the likes of Ronaldinho, who said he was never going to watch this Brazil side throughout the Copa America. I don't believe that for a second, but it has earned that level. And they don't play football in the way that a Brazil team should, in my personal opinion. And obviously I'm not Brazilian, so that may be a bit of arrogance saying that, but there's just something really bad to watch about this Brazil team, and that's something I don't think you should ever say about a Brazilian side. They should always come with the flair, they should always come with the magic, and this team don't, and they are a tough watch. We're going to go over why we're going to go over, as always, in the in-possession first of all. So when Brazil build up, they build up in a sort of 2-4-1-3 that can turn into a sort of 2-4-4 or a 2-4-2-2. That's getting a bit too meta, nobody cares. And it's through the simple philosophy of building up with the centre-back spreading wide to receive it off of Alisson, who can involve himself in build-up, and two very narrow-sitting central midfielders, and I can only assume to try and soak up play to play it out to the full-backs, who can then use their marauding runs forward, which they have. They have Danilo that plays right back, and they've got a couple of left-backs, none of which they're really settled on, but Wendell, I would say, is the go-to left-back, an attack-minded left-back that can maraud forward with the ball and without the ball. Where this falls apart already is, in one holding midfielder they've been playing, it's Bruno Guimaraes, who, as we know from his time at Newcastle, is fantastic on the ball. He's technically top draw and can play out of pressure in these areas. I wouldn't say he's overall adept to using his back to goal, because Newcastle don't typically play like that in their build-up stages. When he receives the ball, it's usually in front of a compact defence, and he's able to dictate play from that point going forward. But it takes a special kind of one-touch bang out of your feet and into the fullbacks. And as much as he has that quality, it's not a position that's going to get the best out of his passing range. João Gomes is a player that isn't as press resistant. He's not as technically gifted as you would expect a Brazilian midfielder to be. Great ball winner, great defensively, and I think off the ball he offers you a balance, but I don't think he's suited to being in that two in a slower build-up style, or at least in a build-up style. Sometimes you'd get situations where Bruno Guimaraes, being the sitting midfielder, would then allow João Gomes to push up a little bit more forward, with Paquetá's been starting in the attack him in and sticking to the left, and you'd have a 4-5-1 or a 2-3-2-3 to try and play out, and then it gives more options for the fullback to play into the centre if need be, and it can cause maybe the defending team's midfield to stagger around and open up lanes into these players. So there's versatility involved, but generally you'll see it in the 2-4. And what this Brazil side have is the ability to play over the top. So in Vinicius Jr. or Rafinha, Savio have taken turns playing in that right wing slot. They have direct options from the back, because both of them don't generally look to involve themselves in build-up. They will stay in between centre-back and full-back, or stretch that entire back line wide to look for it over the top with these areas. And they do try and find them occasionally and get in behind. Not encountering the most amount of success with it, but that is an option for them to use. It allows them to get up the pitch a lot quicker. But that's kind of where this Brazil team really starts to fall apart, is they don't have brilliant technical players that can operate in between defence and midfield to unlock teams. And as much as they try and do that by bolstering numbers, it doesn't come off. Lucas Paquetá is having a poor tournament so far. That weirdly rhymed. Bruno Guimaraes doesn't push up into that position, and they have wide players that stretch the play, not wide players that come inside and allow fullbacks to create width. So they are weirdly limited in terms of the technical tens and players they can get in between the lines. And as a result, if I just push this team forward, you see a lot of this. So you'll see the original 2-4 in the shape that you would expect them to be, the two wide players stretching wide, but where you have the left-sided attacking midfielder, which so far has been Lucas Paquetá. In the left half space, you have Rodrigo dropping off into this area to look to receive the ball in the hole in between the lines, and he'll look to play it out wide for Rafinha or Savio to run onto, or try and drive at the back four and create opportunities from there. But again, once the ball gets into these players in between the line, they have no real support. The space in between that the opposition will look to reduce. It means that they don't have the players to connect with and play through, so it means they end up going back a lot. And Rodrigo can only dribble so much in these situations. You don't get the opposite 10 showing for the ball. You'll sometimes maybe get the out to in run from Vinicius Junior to create a little passing lane to open up over on this side, but it's still not fluid and it's still not resulting in a lot of chances being created through this area. You'll get a couple of ways, though, they will try and create chances from this area. One is Rodrigo, as much as he's prone to coming deep and getting on the ball, he'll even drop into positions here, which allows the fullback to bomb on in this situation. He'll rotate with positions no matter where they are, because he's a drifter. He likes to look for positions, looks for places he can take up the ball. He's a very free roll type player, as we see from Real Madrid, and so can rotate with players. Brazil have very attacking fullbacks, so they don't mind receiving it higher up the pitch or making runs higher up the pitch, whether it be on the outside or inverting into the centre. So that's one way that he can look to get on the ball. Another way is he will look to play the typical centre-forward role and look for it over the top and in behind from the back to receive it like this. Can do so in transitional opportunities or in general attacking phase opportunities, just to try and get in behind and stretch that back four. The only issue is because he's never consistent in where he's taking the ball and whether he's dropping deep to get on it or he's looking to get in behind. It's hard to build up relationships and patterns with the players around him because you don't have time to work on that repetition and that consistency at international level. So everyone just kind of has to work off the cuff, and they're not really creating chances with him dropping deep, and they're not really creating chances with him going forward either. Another way they'll try and create chances from these areas is by getting the ball to the wingers, who will look to interact with their fullbacks that will make runs on the outside of them or make runs on the inside. So let's say on this side of Rafinha's driving at his fullback, Danilo will come over and make this run either inside for him to play the ball to, or look for the overlap that could maybe stretch this guy out here, which creates an opportunity for Rafinha to turn in on his left foot and create a goal scoring opportunity or get a shot off himself in these situations. But again, where I find this Brazil side really hard to like is that when they get into good crossing positions, you often find that there's no one in the box, there's no striker with that killer instinct to get on the end of things. Sometimes you get Vinicius Junior arriving at the far post, but that isn't even really that common. Rodrigo is obviously, as I was just saying, he's not a striker, he's a free role player. He takes up all manner of positions, none of which are consistent. There's no one that's really attacking that space. The attacking midfielder isn't looking to get him beyond and get onto opportunities in this area. It's so easy for their attacks to break down because they don't have a real focal point to hit, and unless it's going direct and over the top to one of these players, they can't create chances, or they can create chances. It's just almost for no one at points through sustained periods of attacking pressure, which a Brazil side, as I was saying before, should always have the capability to do, is football a team to death basically, and this team just doesn't have it. When they play Uruguay in the quarterfinals of the Copa America, you do worry about them really, because that is a team of real quality. Colombia are a team of real quality, drawing 1-1 and just really disrupting them. And where they did disrupt them is with their off-the-ball shape, which we're going to go over now. And their off-the-ball shape is a very passive 4-4-2. They have Vinicius Junior and Rodrigo as the front two, which means the attacking midfielder will push into the left midfield spot to cover where you think Vinicius Junior would be because of the on-the-ball play. And Vinicius and Rodrigo don't typically press. They're not great off the ball, so they're easily bypassed into these areas. And there's a mixture of ways that Brazil press from the midfield. So on the right-hand side, you'll have, let's say, Rafinha in this position, who will go to press the ball in this area, moving alongside Rodrigo and Vini Junior. And Bruno Guimaraes typically covers around to look after the attacking midfield in this position. He doesn't go to press. He looks to play a more reserved role. And also because Rafinha isn't as defensively switched on, he sometimes remains up there with this front three, so he doesn't recover into position quickly, which helps with Bruno Guimaraes' position that he does that and he does drop in, because it just balances out what Rafinha doesn't do. you get a bit more protection from Savio. But on the left-hand side, in this area, you'll get a different sort of set of circumstances. So let's just say the player here is receiving the ball and the holding midfielder is coming short. Then you'll get Paquetá going to press him. And if João Gomes is playing in the secondary central midfield spot, which he has been, he'll go and press along with him. And you'll have Bruno Guimaraes dropping off into this position here. So it leaves an amazing amount of space in between the midfield and the defensive line because those two go to press. It's not cohesive. There's no real consistency with the way they set up off the ball. So it means that passes can go in here and it isolates defenders. And Brazil don't have defenders which engage in this area. So when I was talking about Argentina yesterday, they have two centre-backs where if space opens up in between the lines, they'll jump to press and they'll look to aggress the players in between the line and prevent them from getting around them and creating opportunities. Brazil don't do that. They drop in, their back four narrows up and they'll try and squeeze the space between them and in behind to force them out wide. And as a result, that space opens up a lot more frequently because of the disjointed midfield press. And again, them getting forced deep isn't great for them either for a couple of reasons. But I say a couple of reasons. It mostly boils down to the wide areas. On the left-hand side, Lucas Paquetá's lost his runner a few times. It caused the goal against Colombia, and they were carved open that way by the full-back running off of him, and then it left Wendell in a 2-on-1 situation with the winger, and they were able to create from there. Another way is because Rafinha, Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo don't recover enough, so it almost forces the remaining 7 to get forced onto the edge of their own box to just simply try and lessen the space in and around them, because they won't be able to press man for man and mark individually because they just don't have the numbers to do that with the 3 that remain up the pitch. On one hand, while that leaves them a bit defensively short, it does create a great counter-attacking threat and transition to try and hit these players. But it comes with a cost, and I don't think their remaining defenders are good enough to deal with the issues they face. They won't face many shots due to the fact that they drop so deep and compact, so it means that it takes a lot of attacking quality to unlock them. But against more attacking teams, the way that Uruguay press their full throttle approach to attacking, and they can catch them a lot quicker than maybe Colombia could, or Costa Rica or Paraguay, then it could really cause some problems, and I'm not sure that these defenders individually have the ability to handle it. But I guess we'll wait and see. I'm not optimistic about Brazil's chances in the Copa America. I'd love to know what you guys think. Remember to like if you like the video, dislike it if you disliked it, subscribe if you want to see more, and cheers for watching. In a bit, lads.